Hey there, this is Matt once again, and I figured that since I was doing one on one of these type of videos on Mark DeCostos, why not do one on another, in my opinion, very underrated martial artist. My pick for most underrated martial artist. Love quite a few of this guy's movies. He never got to make too many films, and then even then, he never. He got shafted, in my opinion. He got shafted big time. But that is the perfect weapon himself, Jeff Speakman. Loved this guy. Back in the 90s, studios were looking for new martial arts guys because you had Jean-Claude Van Damme, you had Steven Seagal rising up as the new action stars. So studios went, what can we get? One of the guys they tried was Jeff Speakman. And this came out in 1991, and Jeff Speakman is a master of Kenpo, which I love the look of this martial art. I love the hard-hitting punches and how quick this guy is. If I could do a Ninja Turtles movie, I would have Raphael fight like this guy. Just fast and like literal fists of fury. And he can act too. I think he's a pretty damn good actor. He's fluid in his dialogue delivery. He has a natural presence to him. He's not, to me, in my opinion, he's not stiff. He's not a robot. He does a really good job acting-wise. And sadly, just one of those things, it didn't work because Paramount released this film in 1991. I think it made $14 million on a $10 million budget, so it wasn't a game-buster hit. There's actually a little interview from when this was coming out. I think it's like Mr. Movie or Mr. Movies. I think it's like Mr. Movie interviews Jeff Speakman. Just type in Jeff Speakman interview and you'll find it's like a 57-second clip. And he talks about he had a 3-picture deal with Paramount, but this film didn't do well, so then 2 years, 93, he would be in a Canon Films flick, Street Night. And the reason I'm holding this, it doesn't even have a fucking DVD anywhere. And if you do, it's a bootleg. So, I'll get to that. But The Perfect Weapon, I did a review for this long ago. This is one of those films I watched quite a bit when I was a kid, because that was a time where I'm really into Ninja Turtles and Jean-Claude Van Damme, early Steven Seagal. So any martial arts, I'm like, ooh, what's out there? I'm like, ooh, what's this? I love the look. I love the title, The Perfect Weapon. I'm like, man, this guy kicks ass. He kicks these 3 guys' ass. No, I don't want to, I want to kick all 3 of you guys' asses. And does this thing where he gets on the ground, puts his leg up, and makes this guy, throws this guy, kicks him in the nuts, carries him by the nuts with his foot. This great was like, beats the fuck out of this guy. He faces off against Professor himself, who would, back in the day, fought against Chuck Norris in the film An Eye for an Eye. He was the big guy in 3 Ninjas, which they would fight him and kick him in the nuts. He was Sub-Zero in The Running Man. I think he was also in Showdown Little Tokyo. Professor, I should know his exact name. You also have small roles with Kari Hayuki Tagawa, Shane Stone himself from Mortal Kombat, Dante Basco, Rufio from Hook, he's in the film, Mako, I'm never sure if it's Mako or Mako. He was in Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer. He voiced Splinter in the 2007 CGI TMNT film. He's been in quite a few flicks too. I know he's passed away. Professor Tanaka. There you go. And yeah, this is a plot you've seen done dozens and dozens of times. His friend gets murdered. He wants revenge. He's played on both sides. Gets to the bad guy's lair. Kicks a bunch of ass. Love the opening scene with "I've got the power" and he's training his katas. I love when he's training with this like beat up upturned couch, and he's just beating the shit out of it, ripping it apart with these sticks. And then when he goes to town on these guys at the end, really enjoy this film. And yeah, love that song. I've got the power. It's getting kind of hectic. And for the longest time, this did not have a DVD release. It wasn't until this release where Olive Films came out with a DVD and Blu-ray. What year was this? 2012? 2012, 2013? By that time, never on DVD, especially not in the US. And sadly, no features. Wish there was at least an interview with Jeff Speakman. I don't even think this has a trailer. But it was nice to have a natural release of the film. Nice to have it in HD. But yeah, love The Perfect Weapon. It's a childhood favorite of mine. Then 2 years later, he did Street Night for Canon Films. One of the last Canon films to be released. Directed by the guy who did Purple Rain, weirdly enough. And while Street Night doesn't have as much action as The Perfect Weapon, when it's there, it's nice. He has some nice lines of dialogue. You're not that big. Think about it. It beats the fuck out of this guy with wrenches to the point blood spitting out of the guy's mouth. I think the villain does a good job. Christopher Neame. This is the guy who is the villain in Hellbound with Chuck Norris, another film I enjoy. And that's another day I'm going to do one of these on Chuck Norris. But the villain does this thing where he says he quotes Shakespeare. So he says a quote and he goes, Shakespeare. He's about ready to kill Jeff Speakman, but Jeff Speakman kills his ass first and goes, Hasta la vista, Schwarzenegger. While it doesn't have as much action as The Perfect Weapon, I still think this is a fun movie, Street Night. Please, can someone get this a DVD Blu-ray release? Olive Films or someone, anyone, please? Along with another movie. Which I might as well talk about this. I mean, there's another movie that came out before it, but I might as well talk about this. Because this is my all-time favorite Jeff Speakman film. Came out in 95. On some places called Deadly Takeover, but Deadly Outbreak. Which this was a DVD from overseas I got long ago. Good luck trying to find this fucking thing nowadays. Yeah, this is a DVD from long ago overseas. You tell from the 16 label. And then a very nice guy named Classic Rocker, which I don't know if he's watching, but I still thank you for giving me Short Time, which is a very underrated film, which I reviewed on here for, I believe, Video Vault Guy, which, that's the thing, you never know if these guys are ever around. But if you are watching, thank you so much for this, which, love this cover. And the fact that, this is region free. Yes, it's a bootleg. Well, it's a great bootleg. Looks great here. The back looks wonderful. Love this cover. This is the VHS cover. This is Street Night. Have never been on DVD in the US. Never been on Blu-ray anywhere. Good luck trying to find this. I was looking recently. I couldn't find it because I was curious. Love this movie to death. I think it's on YouTube. I know I reviewed this and I used footage because sadly no one gives a fuck about Deadly Outbreak. Again, put a double feature, Street Night and Deadly Outbreak, please. Now, this is my favorite Jeff Speakman film. This is actually one of my personal favorite movies because this is what I want in an action movie. I want a badass hero. I want a cool villain, Ron Silver. I want a fast-paced, only 90 minutes long. I want tons of action, explosions, gun battles. Jeff Speakman kicking much amounts of ass. There's a little car chase sequence. Well, vehicle chase sequence in these narrow tunnels. There's an action sequence on a bus. It gets right into it, and practical blood squibs. real stuntmen. This big ass vehicle smashing through wall after wall, and Jeff Speedman's in front of it shooting at it. He shoots a guy in the balls and goes, "Guess you forgot your bulletproof cup." I love this movie so much. Feel free to check out my review if you want. There is footage of the movie. I show clips of it because it fucking... I don't know if any fucking studio even owns this movie, man. But yeah, classic rocker. If he ever sees this, I still really appreciate this. It's an extremely kind gift. And someone goes, "But you have 2 versions of the film." Yeah. Guess what, kids? There are no versions of the film. Unless you get the VHS, or I think it's still uploaded on YouTube. I know one time a very nice guy... Why the hell do I not remember his name? God, that's why I hate when your brain fucking farts. Why did I forget his name? Come on, man. Oh, really? It's not up anymore? Some other person, but it might be a foreign version. I remember... The thing is, I remember he was Dram 707. But I think now he's Mr. 707 Legend. Yeah, Mr. 707 Legend. Wait, was he Dram 707? God. My memory fucking sucks. So yeah, Mr. 707 Legend, at one point he did upload the movie. Might be on that channel or a previous channel he had. Sally doesn't do reviews anymore, but if he ever sees, I hope you do reviews. Because he did like a fun rant on Expendables 2 and Sabotage, and loved his stuff. Loved his collection videos, so... I did Mr. 707 Legend. If you ever see this man, I hope you do more. Definitely check out his videos. I did Mr. 707 Legend. At one point, he had uploaded the movie. Again, maybe it's not up anymore. But yeah, this film, I love it, love it, love it. It's my kind of movie. It's my kind of action movie. They don't make movies like this anymore, and it's fucking sad. And this was a direct-to-video movie, and I get more pleasure out of this than so many movies that go to theaters, let alone direct-to-video. Like, direct-to-video action films nowadays, take some fucking notes from this movie. Please. But yeah, this is the one DVD I have. Don't know if he ever has that gun. It's weird, like, they made the gun look like it has 3 barrels on it. What the hell is that? But this is thanks to Classic Rocker long ago. Thank you so much if you're still watching. Or if you ever see this. Love this movie to death so much. Please get a Blu-ray sometime. Someone. Please. Please. But yeah, my favorite Jeff Speedman film. This is my second favorite Jeff Speedman film. I think Street Nights. Actually, I think it'd be number 4, because there's another one I would put number 3, the more I think about it. Called Land of the Free, which I'll get to. But that would definitely be my top 4. Deadly Outbreak, The Perfect Weapon, Land of the Free, which I'll get to, and Street Night. Yeah. Very entertaining action movies. Now, the one he did before Deadly Outbreak was The Expert. I remember being disappointed in this because, well, wait a minute, it's directed by Rick Avery, the same guy who would go on to direct Deadly Outbreak. But there's an interview in one of these books I have, I can't remember which one, like one of the few Jeff Speedman interviews, and he mentioned about how in the making of this film there was another director and he got fired, and then Rick Avery had to come in last minute. So maybe that's why there's an off feel to this flick. Because I would say this has even less action than Street Night. I would say like Deadly Outbreak, Perfect Weapon has the most action from, and Land of the Free. And then Street Night has less action, but I liked the story it was telling. I liked the villain. I liked Jesse Pinkman's performance. I like some of the lines of dialogue. You're not that big. Think about it. You know, him quoting Schwarzenegger, stuff like that. This one, Jeff Speakman does a good job. I like the idea that he's training police officers to protect themselves. James Brolin from the Amityville Horror, Capricorn 1, he's in the flick. One of the best parts of this film is Jim Varney. Yes, Ernest P. Worrell himself. And a role that's very different. Sally, it's only like 5 minutes he's in the movie. But he's like the guy that Jeff Speakman knows who can get him the weapons, and he's gruff and he's dirty, and it's a very different Jim Varney performance. I wish he was in the film a lot more because he was one of the highlights in this. If you want to see Jim Varney do a different type of role. And, you know, the story, his sister gets murdered. There's a point where he breaks into this prison. But the villain is pretty lame. It needed a lot more action. It needed a more fluid pace. There are much worse Jeff Speakman films. There's some nice stuff into this. But I just remember being disappointed with The Expert. There's some nice stuff in it, but yeah. I'm so glad to have this, though. Yeah, Deadly Outbreak. Time Lock I've seen. But that's one where I believe it's the guy who starred in House 2, The Second Story. He was the lead guy. And Jeff Speakman's like one of the villains. And he's barely in the movie. I don't own that movie. I think it's on YouTube. Maybe. That was in 96. 97, he did a TV movie, Escape from Atlantis, which I don't know if I've even seen. Then he did Plato's Run, which stars Gary Busey. Jeff Speakman's in the film, but for like a total of 7 minutes, and then he's in like the beginning of the film, then he comes back at the end of the film. He's one of the guys who knows Gary Busey, then he dies. It was a really lame fucking movie. Fucking hated it. Really fucking hated it. But yeah, I don't own the movie Plato's Run. Like when I say I don't own a movie, maybe one day I'll pick it up for the collection, but there's movies I'd rather get first before attempting Plato's Run or something. But yeah, it's not that much of a movie. And then Sally, in 98, he did 2 of his worst movies with this fucking director, which when I rented on these back in the day, he got fucking pissed off. Worf Teeter. But he did Scorpio 1, which is on this double bill with Firestorm. Just because Robert Carradine is in both of these. And Memorial Day. Both of these from Worf Teeter, who I call Worthless Teeter, the Purple People Eater. And he got, you making fun of my movies. I liked, you know, I'm friends with Jeff Speakman. Okay, cool, you're friends with Jeff Speakman. You still made some really shitty fucking movies, and you wasted Jeff Speakman's time. And I'm pissed because he didn't get to do a lot of movies, and sadly he had to waste 2 movies with this bullshit director who made these shitty films. Maybe this could have been 2 great Jeff Speakman films. If you had Rick Avery back, or the director of The Perfect Weapon, or director of Land of the Free, Jerry Jameson, which this was a PM Entertainment film. That's probably part of the reason why it was good, because PM Entertainment made quite a few good action films, or fun ones. But yeah, you had Scorpio 1, which I would say is the lesser, this is the worst one of the 2. This is the less worst one of the 2. Robert Carradine, Jeff Speakman, they're both good guys. Space station gets disabled. They send up these people, and it takes forever for them to hook up. Jeff Speakman has a couple of nice moments where he kisses shit out of people and shows his quickness and speed. Robert Carradine did fine. Jeff Speakman did fine. But boring subplots about like this disc and info and where the hell... Like, boring espionage plot. Maybe it wasn't even about this. I barely fucking remember this movie. But yeah, Scorpio 1. This gets a DVD release, but not Deadly Outbreak and Street Night. But this has a DVD release in the US from Genius Entertainment. Genius Entertainment, yeah. Yeah, this has a DVD release for some fucking reason. And then Memorial Day, which it's his worst film, sadly, that he stars in, I should say. The worst film he's been in, I don't know, you have films like Time Lock and Hot Boys, which I don't own that, but he's in it for like 5 minutes as a guy. He teaches this one, I think our lead character in that movie. But that he stars in this is his worst one. I can't remember all the specifics, but I remember this being so fucking bad that all this info is wrong. Like, he's not a SWAT team leader, but it's a Chicago SWAT team leader. He's not a SWAT team leader. I don't even know if he was in Chicago. Jimmy Fain. His name is not fucking Jimmy Fain in the movie. Who insists that Fain is the man destined to save the world from nuclear disaster. I don't remember that ever happening in the fucking movie. Going against all sane logic, Fain breaks out of the asylum, racing against time to save the human race from self-destruction. And desolate Siberia, mercenary saboteurs armed with a high-tech stealth helicopter steal the control codes for Russia's orbiting laser satellite called Talon. None of that's in the fucking movie, I swear to God. Within hours, ruthless industrialist Gerald Lancaster launches a series of space-based laser attacks on an American nuclear submarine and a Russian orbiting space station. I don't remember seeing any of that shit either. It's like telling me shit that is not in the fucking movie. I remember back in the day, I don't think that review's up because the director pissed me off with shit. But I swear, like, all this shit is wrong. That's how little fucks Flashback Entertainment cared. They didn't even pay attention to the fucking movie. They just made whatever the fuck up. And what the fuck does this even have to do with Memorial Day? I don't even think it has anything to do with Memorial Day. Just, here's a title. That's how bad the fucking movie is when the bat doesn't even fucking give a shit. Getting to a great one from PM Entertainment. Jeff Speedman and William Shatner's The Villain, and Land of the Free. PM Entertainment, they were on a roll at this time. They did some fun films with Jeff Wincott and Gary Daniels. I believe they did Riot, Rage, Recoil. Did they do Mission of Justice? I know they did I think they did Last Man Standing. They did one of those two, maybe both of them, but I know they did some fun Jeff Wincott and Gary Daniels action films, and this was a fun one with Jeff Speakman. I wish maybe those films, if they were with PM Entertainment, maybe it'd be better. But as I see William Shatner as the villain, it has this great bus chase sequence, plentiful fight sequences, action set pieces. Like PM Entertainment, they were a company that said action is first and foremost, which honestly is what I want in an action movie. And I got a good guy I like, a bad guy that's fun. Land of the Free, I would say it's one of his best ones. Chris Lemmon, Jack Lemmon's son, is in the movie. And directed by Jerry Jameson. Sounds like someone from a Spider-Man comic. It's J. Jonah Jameson's son, Jerry. Actually, he had a son. It's his nephew. But love Land of the Free. There's him getting ready to beat the fuck out of William Shatner. He was in one called Hot Boys, which was a hot plate of ass. This is directed by Master P. And it stars Silk The Shocker as the lead. And yes, there's a moment where he was trained by Jeff Speakman. And you have... Don't you have, like, Gary Busey, Snoop Dogg, C. Murder, Mystical, C. Thomas Howell? Yeah, that's a really bad fucking movie. I wiped out in my brain. Then you have Running Red, which, granted, this was PM Entertainment, but not as good as Land of the Free. Still miles better compared to fucking Scorpio 1 and Memorial Day. There's some nice bits of action. One of the things that hurts this one is... It's one thing, some of these movies, they steal little bits of footage from other movies. Stock footage. I think even Deadly Outbreak steals a little bit. But most of the action, it's there. Jeff Speakman doing it. It's full on theirs. There's an entire action scene where they stole the bus chase from Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Literally steal the sequence of the buses going at each other. And when Arnold and Belushi was in the bus in Red Heat, they stole that whole thing for this. And it's funny because Jeff Speakman's driving by himself, but in the wide shots, you see two people. Because that's Arnold and Belushi's characters from Red Heat. I wish it didn't do stuff like that. Just, yeah, it's not going to be as big as Red Heat, but just do your own action scene. Whatever you can. So, that was disappointing. That's Running Red. Yeah, not as good as... It's a little bit disappointing. Maybe at best a so-so one. And sadly after that, he didn't do too much. He was in a film called Night Terror, where he played a professor. He was in a film called The Gunman, which he was in for a couple minutes. Nothing to do with The Gunman with Sean Penn. And then the last film he was in, I showed it in my Lou Diamond Phillips marathon. I forgot to bring it. Striking Range. That was the last film he was in 2006. Where he's in the film for like 5 minutes. He's a bad guy. He gets killed. Not even from Lou Diamond Phillips' character. It was a humongous waste of Jeff Speakman. Humongous waste. Which really pissed me off. Because it'd be cool to see Lou Diamond Phillips versus Jeff Speakman. What could happen? And it made Lou Diamond Phillips the underdog. And nope. Jeff Speakman's barely in the film. So, yeah, Striker Range was his... He didn't get to do much. The last couple of films, he was barely in them. The last film he starred in was this one from 2000. I wish we could see another movie from him, but I think that time is come and gone. I'm glad he's gotten better from his throat cancer. I'm very glad to hear that. And if Jeff Speakman somehow sees this, there's quite a few of us that enjoyed your movie, sir. Maybe not all of them. I'm sorry, I can't give this the pass. Jeff Speakman's not the problem. Even in these movies, Jeff Speakman's not the problem. But concerning the small amount of films, he gave me at least 4 films I really like. You know, Perfect Weapon, Street Night, Land of the Free, and of course, Deadly Outbreak, which I love. So, thanks for watching, take care, and stay tuned for more videos. See you later.